Welcome back to our channel, everyone. Today, the air in Seoul feels different, quieter, heavier. As though the city itself is holding its breath. Because what began as an ordinary morning has now turned into one of the most shocking days in Korean entertainment history. Lee Dong-wook, the man whose name has long been synonymous with mystery, elegance, and eternal bachelorhood, has reportedly tied the knot in secret. The news broke just after dawn. At first, it was a whisper, a single post on an online community claiming that Lee Dong-wook was spotted wearing a white tuxedo at a private hotel near the Han River. Within minutes, that whisper became a storm. Lee Dong-wook wedding shot to the top of every trending list in Korea, then Japan, Vietnam, and beyond. Fans woke up to disbelief. How could one of Korea's most private stars suddenly be married without a trace of warning? For over 2 decades, Lee Dong-wook has been more than just an actor. He's been an icon of grace and discipline, the man who never let gossip touch his name. From his mesmerizing presence in Goblin to the fierce charisma of Bad and Crazy, he built a career not on controversy, but control. Untouchable, unreachable. The quiet perfectionist who smiled only when necessary. And yet today, the image shattered, replaced by a scene that no one saw coming, a man in love. By mid-morning, blurry photographs began circulating online. They showed Lee Dong-wook standing under an elegant floral arch, surrounded by soft white roses. The lighting was warm. The atmosphere intimate. No reporters. No red carpet. Just a small crowd, 50 guests at most, seated quietly as the actor exchanged vows with a woman whose face remained hidden behind a lace veil. A source close to the venue confirmed the rumors. Yes, it was Lee Dong-wook. The insider whispered to a reporter. He wanted no publicity. He wanted peace. Everyone surrendered their phones before entering, it was a rule. According to this source, the wedding had been in preparation for months. The invitations were handwritten, sealed with a silver stamp, and delivered personally by private couriers. When the first confirmation came from his agency, King Kong by Starship, it was brief and respectful. Please understand that this is a private matter. We ask for everyone's consideration. That single sentence only fueled the frenzy. Who is the mysterious bride? How had they kept their love hidden for so long? Fans around the world demanded answers. Online forums exploded with theories. Some claimed she was a non-celebrity, a woman in her early 30s, elegant and kind, whom he met through mutual friends years ago. Others insisted it must be an actress he once worked with. It has to be Yoon Na, one post read. Their chemistry in Goblin was too real. Another replied, no. She's someone new, someone who understands his quiet heart. The comments piled up by the thousands, blending awe with heartbreak. He was the only celebrity I ever dreamed of marrying, one fan wrote. Now I just hope she makes him happy. Shared tearful messages. It feels like the end of an era, but also the start of a new chapter for him. Reporters rushed to the hotel where the ceremony supposedly took place, a luxury venue overlooking the Han River known for hosting political gatherings and discreet celebrity events. But by the time they arrived, the garden had already been cleared. The decorations dismantled, the guests gone. The only trace left was the faint scent of white lilies and a few scattered petals on the marble floor. A florist later came forward anonymously, offering a glimpse into the atmosphere. It was simple, pure, and elegant, she said. White and green everywhere. No extravagant displays. Just peace, sincerity, and love. When I saw him holding her hand, I thought, this is what happiness looks like. Those who know Lee Dong-wook personally weren't entirely surprised. Over the past year, several close friends had hinted that the actor had changed. He's softer now, one colleague said during a recent interview. He laughs more. He listens more. He looks at people differently, like someone who's finally found peace. Indeed, his fans had noticed subtle clues. He had been less active on social media in recent months. Paparazzi caught glimpses of him visiting upscale hotels in Gangnam. Always alone, always thoughtful. He's scouting for a new project, fans assumed. Little did they know, he was preparing for the most personal project of all, his wedding. As the morning turned into afternoon, Seoul's entertainment newsrooms went into overdrive. Every outlet carried the same headline in bold letters, the wedding no one saw coming. Lee Dong-wook's secret ceremony stunned Seoul. Television anchors struggled to contain their own surprise. We never imagined this day would come. said on live broadcast. Lee Dong-wook has always been so private, this must have been a love worth protecting. Outside his agency's headquarters, fans gathered with banners and flowers. Their emotions a mix of pride and melancholy. Some cried quietly, others smiled and whispered congratulations to the heir. He gave us 20 years of his best self, one fan said. Now it's his turn to receive love. Meanwhile, international outlets picked up the story at lightning speed. Japanese entertainment networks called it a wedding that silenced Seoul. Vietnamese tabloids dubbed it the most unexpected love story of 2025. Across Twitter, hashtags like Lee Dong-wook wedding, secret bride, and Seoul in shock dominated global trends. But perhaps what moved fans the most wasn't the secrecy, it was the sincerity. Those who attended the ceremony described a moment near the end that none would forget. After the vows, soft piano music filled the garden. Lee Dong-wook reportedly turned to his bride, brushed away a tear from her cheek, and whispered something only she could hear. Laughed through her tears. Then, standing before the guests, he bowed deeply. "Thank you for being here," he said softly. "The happiest day of my life. I promise to live sincerely and gratefully from now on." That single moment, simple, humble, and utterly human, was what truly broke the internet. Fans replayed those words, posting them over and over again, as if trying to absorb their meaning. For someone who had always seemed distant, Lee Dong-wook had never been more real. By nightfall, the city glittered under a soft drizzle. Some said they saw a black car leaving the hotel, headlights cutting through the rain, heading south toward the highway. Rumors swirled that the couple was spending their honeymoon on Jeju Island, hidden among the cliffs and sea breeze. No one could confirm it. No one needed to. Because for once, the man who had lived his life under the world's gaze was allowed to disappear, not as an actor, but as a husband. And as Seoul slept, the internet stayed awake, replaying every blurred image, every rumor, whispered detail, trying to piece together the love story that had unfolded right under their eyes. Deep down, one truth lingered in every heart. No cameras, no headlines, no stage, just love. And that, perhaps, is why the wedding no one saw coming will be remembered not for its secrecy, but for its soul. Morning came slowly to Seoul. The city itself was still stunned from the night before. News stints sold out before sunrise. Every front page bore the same words in bold black letters: Lee Dong-wook marries in secret ceremony. TV stations ran the same footage of fans crying outside his agency's building, clutching posters and flowers. The world was awake. But the man at the center of it all had vanished, leaving only traces of white petals and a silence filled with wonder. By now, the questions had shifted. Initial disbelief had faded, replaced by curiosity. Who was the woman who had captured the heart of Korea's most mysterious actor? How long had this love been hidden in plain sight? Insiders began speaking quietly, their voices a mix of awe and respect. It wasn't sudden. One staff member shared anonymously. They've known each other for years. It wasn't about fame or status. It was about peace, something he's been searching for all his life. The revelation changed everything. Fans began revisiting old interviews, watching every show and behind-the-scenes clip, searching for clues they might have missed. In one recording from 2 years ago, Lee Dong-wook had said softly, "When I meet the right person, I'll protect her quietly." Back then, it like a passing comment. Now, it felt like a promise fulfilled. Entertainment journalists tried to chase the story, but his close circle remained silent. No leaks, no scandals, no hidden photos. Just a quiet entity surrounding the newlyweds, a rare phenomenon in a world where privacy is almost impossible to keep. One veteran reporter remarked, as if everyone agreed to protect this love together. Meanwhile, the global reaction was nothing short of explosive. Across Asia, fans held impromptu gatherings, lighting candles, releasing white balloons, memories of their favorite Lee Dong-wook moments. In Bangkok, a fan cafe projected his wedding image onto a building wall. Words: "Congratulations, our eternal Grim Reaper." In Tokyo, fans organized a letter campaign, sending blessings written in Korean, Japanese, and English. Even Western outlets joined the frenzy, calling it a rare love story in an industry obsessed with exposure. But while the world celebrated, some fans confessed to feeling bittersweet. One wrote on Twitter, "It hurts to let go of the fantasy. But I'm proud of him. He taught us that love doesn't need to be loud, another said. We watched him act for years. But this time he wrote his own ending, and it's perfect. The scene of the wedding itself began to take on a mythical quality. Every detail, the soft piano music, the candlelight, the white roses by the Han River, became part of an unspoken legend. A few grainy photos of the ceremony surfaced online, showing Lee Dong-wook bowing deeply to his guests. His face calm and radiant. He looked happier than ever. One attendee posted. There was no performance. No acting, just truth. For fans who had followed him for decades. It felt like the end of a beautiful era. But it was also the start of something new. Lee Dong-wook, once known as Korea's eternal bachelor, evolved before their eyes, not as a star. A man who dared to love on his own terms. His journey, long defined by restraint and control, had finally found balance in emotion and authenticity. Industry experts speculated what this might mean for his career. Some wondered if he would take a hiatus, others believed marriage would deepen his artistry. A director who worked with him on Tale of the Nine-Tailed commented, "Actor finds peace in his personal life. His screen presence changes. See it in his eyes, a calmness that can't be faked." Rumors spread that Lee Dong-wook and his new wife were staying at a secluded villa on Jeju Island. Locals claim to have seen a couple walking along the beach at sunset, hand in hand, both wearing white caps and face masks. True or not, the image captured hearts. The thought of him, free from flashing cameras, watching the waves beside someone he loves, felt poetic, the ending everyone secretly wished for. As days passed, fan communities turned the event into a symbol of maturity and hope. Instead of mourning his loss, they began celebrating his happiness. For years, he gave us strength through his characters. One longtime fan wrote in an online letter. Now he's showing us that real love still exists, quiet, private, but powerful. Even fellow actors and industry friends broke their silence one by one. Kwang Yu reportedly sent flowers and a handwritten note reading, "Brother in peace, may your new life be filled with calm mornings and laughter." Actress Yoon Na, longtime co-star and rumored love interest, posted a simple white heart emoji on Instagram. The gesture sent fans into tears. Within a week, the frenzy began to settle. Fascination only deepened. Articles explored how Lee Dong-wook had managed to pull off one of the most secretive celebrity weddings in Korean history. Psychologists weighed in on why fans felt so emotionally connected. One cultural commentator wrote, "Lee Dong-wook's marriage is not just about love. The collision of fantasy and reality, how the man we projected onto screens found a way to remain real beneath all the light." As Seoul returned to its normal rhythm, the moment from the ceremony continued to echo in fans' hearts, the moment he bowed and promised to live sincerely. That simple phrase captured the essence of who he is, humble, grounded, and quietly extraordinary. Weeks later, a rare photo appeared on his official Instagram. It wasn't grand, just a soft shot of the ocean at sunset. A pair of intertwined hands barely visible in the frame. Caption read, "Thank you for your blessings." Truly, within hours, it became one of the most liked posts in Korea's social media history. The internet, for once, fell silent. There was nothing left to analyze. History left to chase. Just a collective sigh of relief and gratitude. Lee Dong-wook had found what so many chase all their lives, peace. In the end, the wedding no one saw coming became more than breaking news. It became a love story that redefined what it means to live authentically in the public eye. He didn't need a spotlight to make history, just honesty. And a heart brave enough to choose simplicity over spectacle. Lights of Seoul glimmered across the Han River that night. Fans whispered their goodbyes to the man they once dreamed of marrying, and their blessings to the husband he had become. The city moved on, but somewhere, in the quiet hum of midnight, one truth remained. Love, when it is real, doesn't need to be announced. It just needs to be felt.